Welcome to Judge Wapner's Family Legal Guide. As an American citizen, you are guaranteed many rights under state and federal law. But if you don't know your rights, you can't fully use them. After more than 40 years of intimate involvement with the law, Judge Joseph A. Wapner has designed this audio cassette series to clear up many of the mysteries surrounding the law, so you can recognize your legal rights and responsibilities in many different situations. Answering the most commonly asked legal questions, Judge Wapner has provided hundreds of easy-to-understand answers. The Judge Wapner Family Legal Guide is divided into 9 subject areas. Each subject is intended to be a comprehensive survey of the information you'll need. It's helpful to listen to each tape more than once, since each time you hear it, you will retain and remember more of the valuable information. You never know when having this information at your fingertips will save you a great deal of time, money, and frustration. Judge Wapner has had more than 4 decades of legal experience, most recently on the nationally syndicated television program, The People's Court. Prior to his participation on The People's Court, Judge Wapner served for more than 20 years on the municipal and superior courts of Los Angeles, hearing both civil and criminal cases. He was elected by his fellow judges as presiding judge of the Superior Court, which at the time had more than 200 judicial offices, 800 employees, and a $30 million budget. Judge Wapner is past president of the California Judges Association, an organization of more than 1,000 judges throughout California. He graduated from the University of Southern California and the University of Southern California School of Law. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce your host for the program, Judge Joseph A. Wapner.
Hello. Throughout my career in the law, I've learned how important it is for people to understand their legal rights and responsibilities. The law affects each and every one of us in our daily lives, from starting a family to owning a car or making any type of purchase. This audio cassette series has been created to help you deal more effectively with the legal situations which we face in this increasingly complex society. Hundreds of legal situations are discussed in language that's short and to the point. When I use legal phrases or words, I've defined them in the most understandable way that I know how. Whether you have a question about your taxes, your job, or your finances, you'll find answers that concentrate on the substance behind the theory. Of course, not all legal questions could be answered, nor do we address all different state and local laws applicable in a given situation. Laws vary from state to state and are constantly changing. To assure you current information that will retain its value, this series has relied on general rules of federal law and on local laws that are common to most states. There are 2 points I'd like to make before we begin the first topic. One involves the use of gender-specific language. As much as possible, we've tried to eliminate gender-specific terms. When necessary, I have used the masculine gender as being all-inclusive and meant to represent both men and women. The second point I want to make is that this cassette series is a family reference guide. In the same way that you wouldn't rely on a health guide when making important medical decisions, you also shouldn't rely on the information in this program for making important legal decisions. Always contact an experienced attorney who will help you make decisions and undertake actions which conform to your particular circumstances. With that warning, I hope this family legal guide will serve you well for many years to come.
Thank you, Judge Wapner. We'll begin with one of the most important topics in this series, you and your lawyer.
Order in the court. Has the jury reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
Mr. Foreman, will you read the verdict, please?
We, the jury, find for the plaintiff and award damages in the amount of $500,000.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Those are the words we all want to hear. We won the case. That means we chose the right attorney, and there isn't a more important decision to make when you are faced with legal action of any kind. On this first tape, Judge Wapner will discuss the issues of when to seek legal help, how to select the right lawyer, how to work efficiently and effectively with that lawyer, and how to resolve any problems that may arise between you and your lawyer. The worst time to shop around for the best auto repair shop is when your car is stranded on the highway. You don't want to interview dentists when your jaw is throbbing with pain, and it's equally hard to find the right lawyer at the right price with one call from the police station or when you're due in court in the morning. As with any professional service, the best time to find the right person is when you really don't need anything. You can take the time to comparison shop when you don't have to buy. But let's be realistic. Most people aren't in the habit of using lawyers, let alone shopping for them when they're not needed. 2/3 of American adults haven't used a lawyer more than once, even though the average person encounters several situations a year where a lawyer's help might be useful. The reason we use attorneys so rarely is because we usually don't know which lawyer is willing or able to help or what that help is going to cost. For decades, lawyers weren't able to publicize their fees, specialties, and experience. Until 1975, bar associations prescribed high minimum fees. Until 1977, advertising by lawyers was prohibited. Publicity about specialties is still restricted in many states. When lawyers were unable to reach out to their prospective customers, those customers got in the habit of going elsewhere or doing without, except when a counselor was absolutely essential.
Things are better today and improving fast. Lawyers are learning what clients want. Competition is holding down fees. An abundance of lawyers means that the right combination of experience, price, and personality probably is available. I'll say more in a minute about what this combination is and how to find it. But first you have to decide that legal assistance might be useful. When do you need to get legal advice? For most people, that's easy. By the time it occurs to you that legal advice may be needed, it probably is. It can't hurt to inquire, and it probably won't cost anything. It can cost plenty to procrastinate. Most attorneys don't charge for answering inquiries about what they can do. Some will charge if they give you detailed advice, but others won't, especially if the conversation is by telephone.
I receive numerous solicitations by mail for prepaid legal plans. I'm not clear as to what these are or how they work.
Over 17 million Americans belong to these prepaid legal service plans. If you belong to one, it's as easy to call and get legal advice as it would be if you had a private relationship with an attorney. Prepaid legal service plans are really a form of insurance. The participants in the plan pay monthly or yearly premiums to cover expenses for a variety of legal services supplied by a pool of member attorneys. For instance, plan participants may have a will drafted or have the legal documents associated with the sale of their home put together for a small fee or no fee at all.
I've heard you use the words lawyer, attorney, and counselor. Is there any difference between them?
There's no difference at all between these three designations. They're interchangeable. Lawyer, attorney, and counselor all are terms which refer to someone who's licensed to practice law in a particular state.
On her letterhead, my attorney has the letters ESQ after her name. Does this refer to an academic degree?
ESQ is an abbreviation for Esquire, not for an academic degree. The term originated in England, where the squire was the person who judged minor disputes among the people who lived under his protection. Sometimes lawyers in the United States use the term Esquire to communicate that they are in fact lawyers.
Why is it so difficult to select a lawyer? Can't anyone who's passed the bar be able to help me?
The relationship you'll have with your attorney is as sensitive as that you'll have with your doctor. To select the right lawyer, you have to know yourself and you have to think about your problem. We're all different. Some of us want a yes or no answer. Others prefer a full explanation. Some of us want our lawyer to do everything and just notify us when it's done. Others prefer close communication. There's a lawyer for all types of personalities. Factors such as age, race, and sex affect how easy it is to establish a good working relationship. So before you call a lawyer, try to sort out your own preferences and expectations. Remember, the better you know what you're looking for, the better your chances of finding it. Next, think about the problem for which you need legal assistance. Legal questions and cases are almost as varied as people. Sometimes just about any lawyer will do. If you think all you need is the answer to some simple question about the law, there's no point in spending a lot of time evaluating lawyers. If you're on trial for your life, however, you'll probably want the best criminal defense specialist you can get. Every lawyer I know can relate war stories of clients who came in saying, "I just need a simple answer." And it turned out to be a terrible mess. Perhaps more common are clients with problems they believe to be complex, but that are really quite routine. I want to be very clear about one thing. The best way to find the right lawyer is through a referral from someone you trust, who used that lawyer for a similar matter and was very satisfied. If the referral comes from someone you don't know well, or who had a dissimilar problem, then the referral may not be a good one for you.
There are 4 key elements of a good referral: knowing the person making the referral, trusting that person's judgment, having a case that's the same or similar, and knowing that the person was satisfied with the legal work done. The value of a referral declines rapidly as any one of these 4 key elements is removed.
What should I do if I can't get a good referral?
If you can't get a good referral, you should try to get the names of several attorneys and then talk to more than one before making a decision. I generally recommend that you select a lawyer who specializes in the field of law relating to your problem. Just like doctors, lawyers usually specialize in one type of law or another. Where one attorney may spend most of his time in family law, another may be more concerned with business, and yet another with tax law, and so on. It pays in the end to select a specialist in the area in which you need help. Here are some possible ways you might go about finding an attorney.
Check out all referrals. Referrals may still be good enough to pursue, even if they don't meet all the criteria mentioned above.
Just make sure you talk to more than one lawyer, use your judgment, and follow the suggestions we'll talk about in a minute. In this category are included referrals from people working in a field related to your problem, such as a marriage counselor in a divorce matter.
Read advertisements. Increasingly, lawyers are advertising their services. Simple ads in the yellow pages or other directories can give you basic information, including a lawyer's field of practice.
The ad may mention free consultations, convenient hours, and related matters. However, you get no assurance that the lawyer who advertises is better or worse than the lawyer who doesn't advertise.
Check with local law schools, law reform groups, and other organizations.
If your case or question falls directly within the area of activity of an organization such as a civil rights group, housing coalition, or other law reform group, such an organization may be an excellent source of information and referrals. It may also be a frustrating, indirect way of getting the same names you could have gotten yourself more efficiently.
Contact lawyer referral services. Many referral services are sponsored by bar associations. Typically, you get the next name up on the list of lawyers who've indicated an interest in handling your type of case.
Some lawyer referral services are more helpful than others. Generally, you'll pay an initial consultation fee to help support the service. A few referral services try to answer legal questions themselves. Some bar associations have a telephone tape service called Tell Law or some variation to do the same thing. Referral services sponsored by other nonprofit organizations are also worth calling. They tend to select panel attorneys more carefully. The purpose of your first telephone call is to screen the lawyer to see if you should schedule an appointment. Get only as much information as you need to decide if you want a meeting. This is the time to ask about fees. You want to know if your initial consultation will be free, but don't bargain about fees over the phone. You'll sometimes have to leave a message and have the lawyer call back. The callback should be prompt, certainly by the end of the next business day.
Judge Wapner, is it better to select a lawyer from a large firm, or will I get more attention in a smaller firm?
Law firms vary in size from a one-person practice to firms with over 500 attorneys in locations across the United States and abroad. For most personal or family problems, you probably want a lawyer who practices alone or in a small group. Smaller firms will generally cost you less, afford you more personalized service, and still provide you with expertise in several specialties. If you have a complicated problem or a large business deal, you may want to look to a larger firm that can handle several specialized areas. Fees will be higher, but so will the availability of varied expertise. When you make an appointment to meet with an attorney for the first time, remember that the purpose of your visit is to find out whether you need to hire a lawyer and whether this is the right one. You are the buyer. If you feel uncomfortable or intimidated, you probably should choose someone else. Pay attention to your own impressions and trust your judgment. You need to feel confidence in and comfortable with your lawyer. Here are some factors that you should consider.
How does the office look? Where is it located? Does it convey the right impression of solidity and success?
Are the receptionist and other staff members courteous, helpful, and professional?
Did the lawyer show interest in you and your case? Were you given proof of the firm's experience in successfully handling similar cases?
Were you satisfied with the way the lawyer suggested approaching the case, the steps that would be taken, and the proposed timetable for taking action?
Did the lawyer mention fees first, or did you have to raise the subject? Did you feel you could negotiate fees without creating ill will?
Every lawyer, client, and case is different, so it's hard to say just what to look for. But the most common error is ignoring your own feelings about the attorney and your judgment about his competence. The whole selection process could be summed up in one question. Do you like, respect, and trust this person? If not, keep looking.
I have no idea what lawyers charge. I just know they're expensive. Are there any guidelines I could follow to know if I'm being charged too much?
The question of price and quality has two aspects. We've already talked about the first and more difficult one. How much quality do I need in this case? The second is, how good a value is this lawyer I'm talking to? While lawyers generally set their fees based on their experience and standing in the community, they are free to charge what they please within very broad limits. Don't be easily convinced that just because a lawyer charges more, that he is a better lawyer. The better lawyer may charge less. Use your judgment as you would in making any other purchase.
I've done what you suggested, Judge Wapner. I must have seen 5 attorneys. Not one of them was interested in my case. What do I do now?
If you visit a number of lawyers about a matter and no one wants to handle it, chances are there's something wrong with the case. This doesn't mean that you weren't wronged or that the lawyers don't believe you. Most likely the case is too complicated for the amount of money it's worth. The difficulty may be procedure, evidence, or the law itself. Some people get so upset when a lawyer refuses a case that they don't listen to the explanations that they are given. If you've talked to 5 lawyers about a problem in your field and none of them wants to handle it, you should probably rethink your position and whether your problem is worth pursuing.
A good relationship with your lawyer depends on good communication and a firm understanding of your respective needs and responsibilities. Once you've found an attorney you'd like to hire, make sure you get a written fee arrangement and understand the lawyer's course of action and timetable. This is also the time to establish clearly what level of communication you require.
Judge Wapner, should I be careful what I tell my attorney?
You should not hesitate to tell your lawyer anything that may be important to your case. Generally, the more details and information you provide your attorneys, the more prepared they'll be to resolve your case. Your counselor is enjoined by law from disclosing any information that you have given without your permission. Even if you admit to having committed a criminal act, your attorney generally cannot reveal this to the police. The law refers to this relationship of confidence as the attorney-client privilege. The one exception to the attorney-client privilege is if you tell your lawyer that you are going to commit a crime in the future. In this case, your attorney may reveal this information to the proper authorities so they may try and prevent the crime.
Do I need a formal fee agreement, and if so, what form should it take?
Together, you and your lawyer should draft a written agreement in order to avoid any possible misunderstanding about what you'll be charged. Some states now require lawyers to obtain written fee agreements with clients for most types of matters. Be sure you get one. It may take the form of a letter, or it may look more like a standardized form. The agreement should cover the amount of the fee or the basis for figuring it, as well as when it's payable. It should also specify what other charges, such as court costs, phone calls, copying, and postage, you're responsible for. Litigation expenses for stenographers, investigators, and expert witnesses can be considerable and are a frequent source of fee disputes. Filing fees can run several $100s.
Fees usually take one of three forms: hourly, flat fee, or contingent fee. An hourly fee is usual where the total amount of work needed is uncertain. You should get a written estimate of the probable number of hours necessary included in your fee agreement, and you may want to require that you be notified if it appears later that the total will exceed the estimate.
Flat fees are most common for fairly routine matters where the time involved is predictable. House closings are a good example. Most clients prefer flat fees, so lawyers are using them more than they used to. Don't force your lawyer to set a flat fee, however. You may find a hefty cushion against unexpected problems has been built in, and you could end up paying more than you would have if you'd been charged by the hour. One variation of the flat fee is based on the value of the estate, house, or other property at issue. Such fees are usually higher than the amount of work involved would justify. If the fees are specified by statute, the percentage given are maximums. Don't let your lawyer tell you otherwise. Calculate the dollar amount of the fee and then negotiate. The extra work usually pays off.